Hello everyone, my name is Betharn and I welcome you back to Space Engineers. This is part 5 of our Planetary survival tutorial let's play nonsense thing we got going, and we are about to embark into our base building section of the video. All we really need is light armor blocks. We could place them through the projector, but I want to make sure that I don't accidentally build things on top. I want to get all these plates done out first. I'm probably actually going to toggle the dang thing off afterwards, and I'm going to use the fabricator to build the things that we want first. Because the one problem is if you again, if you use a fabricator and you accidentally build the thing, you won't be able to access it, and then there will be armor plates underneath that aren't built, which isn't the worst thing in the world because our base won't collapse if something happens to them, but I'm a little bit OCD when it comes to that, and I want these plates all built, especially if you plan on doing, if you want to actually make your base airtight, you have to have, even if, for instance, I built my entire base and I left that there. Stupid game. And I left this one block right there, everything else can be sealed. Even though that's whirled through that block, it would not count as airtight. You have to actually have built components in a complete block wall around it, which is a little dumb, but I guess it's an easier way to program. So we're gonna lay out a bunch of these things, and we want, go ahead and get all these blocks on the outside also established. For now, we don't want to go burn through too many of our steel plates, but we do have super easy access to iron now, so we don't have to worry about it all that much. Let's go ahead and place some of these, and then we're going to grab our gremlin, and we're going to get to work with that bad boy and make him earn his keep here. Alright, so what we're going to do is, we don't have, I kind of wish there was one of those single buttons for large grids, but there's not. There's only like a 4-button panel, which is more or less the same thing. I just like that little button, it's really cool. You can't actually hit the wrong one, you just, yeah, so we'll do that. Turn him off. Okay, I need to park that guy the other way. Alright, come here, you. So we're gonna hop in here. Apparently the grid wanted to work today. Let's go ahead and type in our little search thing to refine everything. What we're going to do is go to our production and remove those and let this guy get back to work, since our power is not in the worst of shape. Actually, there's something I want to do before we go crazy over there is, what are we still, yeah, we're still in a variable mode. So let's go to 2. Recharge is off, so engines are on. 9. And what I want to do here is rip apart some more of our lander, but mainly it'll be a while before we can retire the refinery and assembler on our lander. In fact, we might not want to for a good long while, even after the base is set up, depending on our component needs. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to rip apart some of the plates around it, and we are going to add on the modules to it. We're going to add on pure power efficiency is what we usually will do on, did I break that? I think I broke that. Oh, that would be why I broke that. Got my grinder turned on. Oops. We'll put power efficiency on our assembler. We could put like 2 on the thing, maybe 2.5 if we want to spend the components, so it'll draw less of our power while it assembles, because it's going to be assembling non-stop forever now, because we're going to need all the components we can get, and we can keep it fed very easily with at least steel plates, if nothing else. And we will be needing copious amounts of steel plates. This is 25 per block. Per light armor block here, so consider, I'm actually doing this to get rid of the weight, because I know I have a bunch of steel plates on me. Do I? Or do I have a bunch of motors on me? Oh, yeah. I guess I should have just got rid of my motors. We'll do a couple of these while I talk. So, yeah, we're gonna need these steel. There's 25 steel plates a piece. So, think about every 4 blocks you need 100. So, think about just how many you're gonna need for large grid anythings. Not to mention you're going to need a lot for more motors if you build large atmospherics, metal grids if you build hydrogens. The hydrogen tanks are a ridiculous amount of pipes a piece. That's another balancing thing that needs to happen. Okay, so we're out of plates. The small and large hydrogen tanks cost almost the exact same, which is just silly. And the small hydrogen tanks are super inefficient compared to their size compared to large tanks. So that needs a major rebalancing work for sure. All right, so we're gonna go to our inventory. Oh, I think I accidentally hit F. All right, so we're gonna go in here and we're gonna do our component search again. Where's our ship at? Where'd all these motors come from? Grab all these motors, get rid of them. We even have room for all of them in here, not 50, 55. So here's where we might actually start running into. That thing's almost full. So we're actually getting to the point where we might need to add more cargo, but we're gonna start burning through a lot of these components anyway, including these new ones that we're constructing. Yeah, so it's working on those. We're gonna need, that's 2,000, we're not gonna go crazy with that. That's 100, 10s. Alright, so we'll do that. What we do need is just cargo hold space. Where are we at on ship mass? That thing tends to break when you're attached. Steel plates, motors are not updated yet, it looks like. I don't know if my LCDs are working on this thing. That's all our cargo. Let's go ahead, and I didn't turn anything off, so I can just do this, and we're okay on weight now. So what we're gonna do down here is I think our refinery is right here. And here's the thing with the refineries. I don't like it, but it makes some sense. But basically the only thing you ever need on your refineries is efficiency modules. You never need to play with the other modules because they don't actually seem to matter. Because one of the reasons for that is, am I in the right spot? Is that efficiency modules don't actually make the refinery use more power, which I believe it should, because then it'll give you more options. So the only time you ever really need power modules is to just save completely on power. But like one refinery can make more than enough uranium to power dozens of refineries, I think, honestly. So that's not the most important thing in the world. And if you use speed modules, it increases the power consumption like at a ridiculous rate. But all it does is it goes through the ore you have faster. So if you use the efficiency and you use 4 efficiencies, which they are also not diminishing returns, they're actually the opposite, which doesn't make any sense and should be fixed to be diminishing returns. If you use 4 efficiency modules, you get double the ore back. So you do less mining, you get more ore, you use less power. So efficiency modules are better in every conceivable way in every conceivable universe until they're rebalanced, which I hope they do, so that you actually have more options in the game. So we're ripping these out. We're gonna fit 4 yield, I think they're called yield modules on this refinery here. And then on our assembler, we're gonna put as many power modules as we can. The assemblers are shaped funny, so it'll be, I don't know how many we're gonna be able to cram on the thing, the way it's set up right now. So we'll get rid of this engine and these armor blocks, which gives us, so 1 more armor block pair here, which will give us full access to the bottom of the refinery. It's so slow. Alright, so that's exposed. So let's go ahead and, since we're down here, we'll rip apart these. I don't want to go crazy with that because, again, we're almost out of inventory space. So we don't want to go too nutsos with that. What I do need to do is double check my timer block. Set up actions, run default arguments, start, because I know our display, okay, for some reason it was turned off. There we go. We also have lights on this guy. Groups, lights, toggle block on off. I rarely use them, but they're nice. I really love the spotlights in this game, and there's actually recently, if you haven't played in the past month or so, they had a big update that updated how all the lights look and that the grinding and the welding torches light effect, which I absolutely love. It's one of my favorite updates besides the block rework, like the beginning of this year or something, where all the blocks pretty much got a facelift and they all look so much nicer now. Especially the engines. A lot of the pretty much all the engines got a major rework. The hydrogen thrusters, the ion thrusters look super awesome now. The atmospheric thrusters look great. So I'm really happy about that. So here is the thing with the assembler, I think. Right, so the assembler has two faces of its four long faces, the two block faces that you can see in front of me. The one on the other side mirrors this one. So there's a hatch on the bottom, and then there's a efficiency module, whatever they're called, as a group on the other half of the block. And then on the bottom block, the bottom part of this thing, and also the top, which has stuff on it which we can't use, there is a pair. So the modification modules are 2x1s, 2x1x1s, and is that right? 2x1x1, yeah, 2x1x1. So the way this works is, let's go ahead and put this guy on the ground to save a little bit of power while we're working. So we can go ahead and just shut off our engines. Tools are off. I gotta fix that sensor so I don't kill myself. So you can see there, the refinery you can also see before. The arc furnace has no modifiers, so never have to worry about that. So on this guy, what we can do is we can go to 7, and this is where I put my stuff. You got your yield module, which is the one we're gonna put 4 of there. Then you have your power efficiency module. So as you can see, you can do 1 on here, and then if I put another one here, I would only get half its effectiveness, but it has 2 faces like that, so you can get the full effectiveness by doing it. But what you do is you put 2 assemblers and put them together, but you flip them backwards. So basically, if the block was like this, like that, but against the assembler and his buddy, then both of them would get half the effectiveness of this module. And if you saw my base, it was kind of set up like that. I don't know how much it was armored. So we're gonna grab our yield modules. We'll just throw 4 of these guys on here. And one of the reasons you want to build these guys kind of ASAP is they are one of the cheapest blocks in the entire game. They are not expensive. Especially, I think this is the cheapest one too. The metal grids are a little expensive, I suppose, but comparative to what they can give you, they are absolutely always worth building as soon as you can afford to. So let's put our engines back on, turn on our welding torch, our grinder is off, and we'll build this guy up, which will save us a buttload of power right off the bat. And then let's see if we have all the parts for these yield modules, which will give us, early game you might want to put some speed modules on here, but our power grid I don't think can support the speed modules at the moment. And technically, if you think about it, because each time you refine something, with these yield modules all set up like this, 4 of them, you get twice as much ingots out of the ore. So these basically function also as speed modules. So why the module system is as bad as it is, I don't know how that ever made it past 4 years of testing, but it's what we have, it's what we have to deal with. So just take it as it is, and hopefully they'll rebalance it at some point. So let's see if that had the parts I needed. Again, I wish these things were more, this would actually show me what I freaking needed. So let's hop out, grab our hand tool, and double check what we need. This small steel tubes. So we're gonna need 30 something of these guys. Which, yeah, I think we're completely out of. We're gonna have to start building those if we want them. So let's go ahead and connect. We're gonna grab some small steel tubes and as many steel plates as we can to finish our base floor there. Right, so let's attach, G. That's I for you guys. I have a tendency to flop those. So if I say I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but in any game with inventory, instead of I, do G because my hand is on WASD all the time. G is much closer, I don't have to move my hand, it's just a thing that I do. Small steel tubes. We don't have a lot of, nope. So let's go to production, let's move our small steel tubes up. Let's go ahead and get 50 more made. Put them at the front of the queue. And see, we need 30 something, was it? So let's go ahead and grab those. Steel. 32. So let's just go, and as soon as we get 32, we'll take them. 32. Throw them on our ship. Grab these plates. Grab as many as it'll let us carry. So 20, 30, that's more than enough. We can carry up to 60. So our engines are on, our batteries are good. We'll detach. We will turn on our welding torch. We get these made, so we'll get a lot of uranium coming in. This will be good once we get this set up. And oh, you gotta be kidding me! I missed something else too. All right, come here, you. Wait, what? Construction components. Oh, I didn't realize I was out of construction components. I had the small steel tubes. I don't know why that didn't get built. Let's see. What? 30? I had 32. Oh, did I need more than 32? Oh, yeah. I apparently needed more than 32. That was dumb. STE for steel. Grab a handful of those. And where's our construction components? We need about 100 of these guys. I think that's enough. We can finish these yield modules by hand. And then we have a bunch of steel plates. All right, perfect. So now we have a ton of uranium coming in. The other thing we will do is we will give this guy another makeover. I'm gonna go down here so I don't have to use a bunch of power. Hydrogen to fly. I just broke it. That's wonderful. Oops. Alright, so let's rip this guy down. I'm gonna need to clear up some inventory space. I'll just pick up the items. Alright. We don't want that. We want a second welding torch to speed things up. And we have all the parts. Which is good. Alright, so this will double our base building speed. Color proper. Cool. I didn't drop anything there. Cool. I don't know why I flew when I can just. I think you should be able to access this thing. It could be. The inability to access this stuff could be my fault, but it shouldn't be that hard. Anyway. Could be because I like to build stuff around the cockpit so much, so you have all these cool displays to look at and all that. But it could cause problems with trying to click it. But while that could be a concern, I know it's not the major concern because there's times where I can't click something that's directly in front of my face that has nothing around it. So this is going really quick now. What you can do with this particular ship design, if you're building a giant wall, for instance, is it'll do 4 at a time. So if you line up these arms right here, it'll reach all 4 of those blocks. So if you're right in the middle, it'll reach the block to the left and the block to the right for each of the welding torches. And this seems to be pretty quick, so even though they are slightly less efficient when they're doing multiple blocks, It's not as bad with large grid blocks, so you don't have to worry too much about it. Of course, I'm out of plates probably. Yeah, probably out of steel plates. You're gonna go through a ton of steel plates, and imagine trying to do this by hand. You can only build 4 blocks at a time on this inventory setting. So, yeah. Even technically if this weld is slower, it's still better for just on the realistics. It's basically required to do anything. Because you have to, in order to transport the resources, you need the inventory space on this big guy. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go for broke on our inventory space. Where's that? Well, actually, we're probably gonna need another iron run, honestly. Where's our production going? You know what? We're gonna need so many steel plates. Let's get 1,000 working. We're not gonna have enough iron for that, so we're gonna need to do another iron run. So let's grab all these. Let's see, what's our power at? This is where you kind of want to get we have 2 hours of battery, 5 hours of battery, a day of battery, so we got plenty of power. So we'll go ahead and attach here, get a few more things built up, use up this load of armor, steel plates, and then we will frame out some more of the base. The first thing I want to get is that reactor going, so I don't have to power the base with a small gremlin reactor if it fucking goes down, because it doesn't have enough throughput. I think I might have mentioned it before. One of the interesting things about reactors, though, is that all reactors are equally efficient when it comes to power. It's just their maximum power draw is what the concern is for any kind of reactor. So if you need to generate 500 kilowatts of power, if you use a small reactor, it'll use the same amount of fuel and it'll generate the same amount of power. 500 kilowatts is max. A large reactor is 300 megawatts, I believe, its output capacity. So it can do 500 kilowatts, just the same as a small reactor. Use the same amount of fuel, same amount of efficiency, but it just has a much higher maximum output. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and dock this bad boy. So we went through all those steel plates. So what we're really gonna be needing to do here is do a bunch of iron runs just to get our floor done. Let's see, dock, hardbar 2. Let's go ahead and turn off our engines, but leave our batteries so we don't mess up the base's power. We also want to turn off our lights. They don't use that much power, but see, that should not be hard for me to click, and it is. I don't know why. That's something there was a patch about a month ago that fixed it, quote unquote. Spotlights off. And I never had, like, these things are sometimes hard to access. There was a patch where nothing was hard to access and it was wonderful and the magical land of happiness. But since then, that is not the case anymore, and it drives me batty. And I wish they would fix it back again and stop breaking other things, but every major patch breaks something major. So, well, then we have all that to look forward to. So we're gonna grab another load of iron. Battery recharge, power on. This is where the pre-flight checklist comes in. Recharge is off, so the ship will fly. You hit spacebar to double check your thrust. It's mostly accurate. There are times where it's not. I've had occasions where my ships were desynced, and largely in multiplayer, you'll have those problems where the inventory desync bug is a bug that's always there and seems to never go away. Where you can look and see an inventory and it'll never change, and even though it's changed, blah 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 blah. But it'll happen to your engine sometimes too. So request 5 to turn our stone sorter back on because we don't need any more. In fact, we had some stone on board. But, oh yeah, that's right, we did have stone on board, didn't have a home. But, we don't need it. It's stupidly easy to get, so you can see I'm just coasting along with these thrusters. It's saving me tons of power. Because if you see now, it's taking me 19 minutes of power to get there. So if I turn off my front thrusters, I'm at 48 minutes of power because it's not trying to slow me down constantly. So it essentially doubles your power, the obvious reasons that you're not using twice as much thrust to move the same distance. Right, so we're close, so we're gonna flip those off, turn on our mining lights, and we will go on in the hole that we made, grab some more iron. It's one of my favorite parts of the game. I love mining in any game. Eve, one of my favorite games ever for mining. This game's probably the best game there is for mining, just because of the inventory management that comes in. One of the reasons I like almost any game is I like accumulating resources in games. It's one of my primary draws to almost any video game, and this has that in spades. Not so much if you play with ×10 inventory, because you have everything is trivial. In this, if you stockpile, it actually has a meaning on realistic inventory setting, whereas on ×10 it doesn't feel like it does to me. So we have a bunch of stone. We're full. It's not, because if you're not, you know what? Give me 3,000 more iron before I get out of here. Because if you keep mining and your inventory doesn't have room for it, you'll just lose the resources, which is not the best thing in the world. But it's not the end of the world either. But it's best to avoid, especially early game, if you have a small resource pocket like uranium or something. But seriously, one load of uranium in this ship, and it's one of the smaller cargo hold mining ships, and if you scale up and actually use ×10 inventory, one load of uranium from this thing will last you literally a year in game, I would think, until you start building ridiculous things that waste power like nothing else. So you want to go home, you want to keep your speed down. I mean, I could be blasting my thrusters all the way home. The problem is, again, every watt of power you use to accelerate, you're going to have to use it again to decelerate. And that can be very wasteful if you get going up to 100 meters per second. Even if it cuts your trip down. And when we do our first platinum run to the moon, that is a very huge factor, especially because hydrogen is a very fun game mechanic and resource to manage, but it's very unforgiving to worry about, because there is if you go with just a couple tanks, it's all you got. There's nothing you can do. You can't pack in some uranium ingots, which weigh almost nothing, and generate some more power. It's a big heavy tank. When it's empty, you're out and you're done. I wrecked one of my ships because I didn't have enough power to slow down from a trip home. One of the nice things about it, though, is I crashed with 60,000 platinum in my hold, which is what my Midas Mark II is rated for. But 40,000 of it survived the wreck when only 12 blocks of a whole ship. Okay, so that's a thing. So that's one of the things you need to watch for without having a sorter block, is all the stone in the base. My ship was attempting to grab, since my sorter is set to grab it, and dump it out. So, oops. Not a big deal. Arc furnaces doesn't take stone, so let's just cook the rest of our stone into gravel. That's probably, this is how much. See, it takes 20 gravel for a reactor component, so you only need 2,000 gravel for a thing, so 2,000 stone. So if you did one trip with just stone, you could build 10 small large grid reactors. So we're gonna have another 18,000, so we have plenty more steel plates that we can make. So if we do this, if we grab our ore here, what we might want to do is, it'll use more power. We could build another arc furnace, because arc furnaces are great, but we really don't, because honestly, it burns through resources so quickly, it's insane. The main problem we're going to have right now until we get our base constructed is storage space, like I've said numerous times now. This ore is not helping So basically with the realistic inventory now, we have to balance our time. We can't go and do a whole bunch of mining runs. We literally have no more room in our base for ore. We're already pushing the capacity to its max. So I have a little bit of stone here. So we have, let's see, uranium ingots. How many uranium ingots do we have? We have 7. And our gremlin reactor is taking it all. We're gonna go in here and we're going to our reactor. We're gonna go to the reactor. We're gonna turn off our conveyor system so it stops taking uranium. And we're gonna turn off the reactor. And we're gonna go here and we're gonna grab all of this, put it here. And I'm gonna put like 2 units of uranium in the reactor. That's our emergency uranium. Okay, cool, we're good. We got thousands and thousands of steel plates coming. I don't know that we have enough for all those iron at the moment. I don't know how much we had initially. We can leave this in here because our conveyor system is turned on for our arc furnace. So it will use the conveyor system, so at any time it has anything on hand, it'll use it. Our refineries, here's the information. So our effectiveness is 200%, so every unit of ore that it refines, it gives you twice as many ingots as it normally gives you. So if, for instance, if you have uranium is one of the lowest ones in the game for efficiency. I think platinum and uranium, I believe, are the same. So 60,000 units of ore, which is what my hydrogen miner does, only gives you 300 ingots worth of the resource. So if you have full efficiencies, you get 600. So it's 0.05% or 0.5% or whatever the heck. So not the greatest thing in the world. So we're gonna go over here and we're gonna shut off our engine so we save some power. And we're going to get our base more planned out here. We need to get that reactor built so we can completely solve all of our power problems. And then we will get our large cargo built, our Midas hookup built so we can actually mine a whole bunch of ore and get those arc furnaces refining a bunch of iron for us. And then our refinery on the base will have 2 refineries going with pure efficiency mods, and our small reactor should be able to power it all. So you don't place anything with those, so we'll need some of those, and we'll need some interior plates. Okay, so that's how you place things. And we're going to toggle our projector back on. So go projector, toggle on. Let's go ahead and do this. Also show only buildable. Cool. That'll take some of the noise out. So cool. This is what we can build. So we're gonna want this cargo hold. This conveyor sorter we're not really gonna need immediately. We'll have a conveyor block here, tube here, nuclear reactor there, large cargo here, conveyor, sorter. We're gonna need a lot of construction components for this, and computers, so we're gonna need a load of silicon. We're going to build a conveyor tube there. So I'm going to pick only the blocks I want. So we're going to want to build a sorter there, tube, conveyor, tube, sorter, furnace, tube, conveyor, sorter, that's a sorter, and a tube. And then we'll go ahead and build our refinery also. And then yield module. Yield, shoot, I wasted a bunch of steel plates, so that's fine. We want those all built. All right, so what that does is, basic setup here is once this is built up, you'll dock your Midas. This sorter will pull all of the ore directly out of the Midas into the systems here. It will generally go, it will only go into this container because this sorter will only allow ingots through, so ore can never go through there. So once it pulls out through that sorter, it'll go directly into this cargo. On the bottom of this cargo, there's a conveyor block linked to 2 tubes. On one side of the tube, you have a sorter in the refinery, which will only allow ore in the refinery. And then the same thing over here, but this one will only allow iron through. Maybe early game we'll have it for nickel and cobalt, but this basically only iron will come through here, only iron will come out, only iron ore will go in, only iron ingots will come out, and then we'll take advantage of that refinery to get it up to the top, and that sorter block up top right there. We'll pull all of the ingots out of the refinery and the arc furnaces and shoot them back into the system here, which will generally put them directly into the large cargo. I hope. Actually, I just looked at that and realized that it might actually overflow into the assembler, so I hope that doesn't happen, but we'll see. If it does, we can deal with it. Okay, I just saw something I can probably move some things around. So we're going to turn the projector off again. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I had a little cut there. I had a bit of a crash problem when it saved. Happens occasionally, but I think we were working on turning on this projector here. Projector, turn off. And we'll cover. Alright, so we're good on that. Let's grab this guy. That doesn't. Wait, those batteries do not look like they're charged at all. That's not the best thing in the world for us. Let's grab some of those plates. I don't know how they got down here. Let's see what's going on with our power here. Got 2 hours worth of power in the base. K menu, batteries, batteries. Alright, so base fully depleted in 50 seconds, recharged in 15 minutes, depleted in 30 minutes. Recharge off. Okay, so 15 minutes, 4 hours, 15 minutes. Alright, so we don't have, this guy is not getting enough power. That complicates things sort of here with what we can do. We need this reactor up. So we're going to hand build this bastard. It's going to be a little bit laborious here, but we'll get it done. And that will solve, hopefully, our power problems for the foreseeable future. This alone, as you can see, is going to take, it was tubes, was it? I don't remember. So I'm going to grab steel plates instead. So let's see, so we're going to get this guy built. We need some metal grids. Steel plates, was it? I think large tubes. Let me get this reactor up. Large tubes are good. 2 more metal grids. Some motors. Reactor components we need a lot of, which takes at least 3 trips alone. So I'll take some of those. I think we need some computers. I don't think we need those. Reactors, we need, what, 2 more metal grids, I think I said. Reactor components, 31. Sprint, sprint, sprint. Alright, so we need construction components, steel plates, a few more reactor components. I think we had exactly 100, so as soon as we're out of those, we'll be good to go. Reactor components, all of them, all of those. And we'll need 40 construction components, which I'm pretty sure we have. And then 15 computers and 30 steel plates. We might be able to do one more trip. And then we'll need the ingots to power the ding. Alright, so 30 steel plates, 40 construction components, computers. Oh, we have just enough computers, I think. Right, so we need production, we need 50 computers. I don't know if we have enough silicon for that. Do that. Get some computers built we'll need for stuff. Get this guy built. Perfect. Double click, lock it on. Itch my arm. Alrighty. And generally what you'll want in your base is at least 1 reactor that has an access port. Smaller ships are harder to do it on, because they only have a single one, but this will allow it to both be accessed from outside, so you can manually stick ingots inside, and then it also is connected to the conveyor network, so from the refinery refining ingots out, it can where's our uranium ingots at? Oh, there, 7. Boom. Threw them back in the refinery. refinery, I forgot. Okay. So here we go. Finally. Power problem solved. No, not really. 15 megawatts. Oh, it's probably charging batteries. That's why it's using so much power. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in here. We're going to go to our batteries. We're going to take these batteries and set it to discharge because we want to be able to rip them apart later. So we don't want them charging. So we're going to go to our batteries. Fully depleted in 9 minutes. These guys both need to be on recharge because our gremlin needs power. Fully depleted in a couple seconds. Our miner is 60% charged, and we need iron. So, yeah, I think we're going to get that handled in the next episode, but we're hitting about 30-40 minutes now, so I'm going to cut this here, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.